Let me give you an illustration of the importance of having a backup plan. When I was at Cornell, there was an international graduate student, almost finished with their work, final stages of a PhD, all the data, all of the writing was on their computer, almost ready, all of the material was in their apartment, and then there was a fire. And all of it was destroyed. I didn't know that graduate student very well. I never followed up on what happened to them, but a very traumatic experience. So that points to the importance of making sure that you have backups, multiple backups, preferably in multiple locations. So you should always have at least 2 copies at any time, preferably on different devices. Local device like your computer, an external drive that you can put someplace else, or on the cloud. And when you're working with a team, it's important also to make sure that you use the latest version. A number of times when I was working with the previous iGEM teams, they would ask me to do editing. I would do some editing on whatever they were writing, and then that group would continue to write, but they weren't using the latest version. And so when it came back to me, none of my previous changes were there. That's very frustrating for me as an editor. One of the ways to avoid that these days is to work on an online version. Make sure that it's required that everybody sign in so that all of their comments are listed by name, by date, so that you know who's done what editing at what point, whether you're using Google Drive or some other system. But at the same time, you should have regular backups of the earlier versions just in case anybody does something stupid and deletes the whole file or misses something, makes a major mistake with it. So on your team, designate someone as a file master, someone who will be responsible for that backup on a regular basis, someone who likes detail, back up everything at least once a week, and establish some sort of a file naming system so that, for instance, if it deals with human practices, all of the files begin with human practice and then some designation for the specific file and a date so that you know when that file has been updated. Give either a version number, version 1, 2, 3, or give a date. If you use a date, I suggest using year, month, day, because then they will always be in a regular order and in the correct order. If you use something like month, day, or day, month, then things get messed up. So when you're doing a presentation, also, it's important to have a backup. When you go to a conference, when you go to your competition, make sure that you have your files on the computer, but also on a flash drive. Also email them to yourself. Have them on the cloud so that no matter what happens, you have a second, even third backup of your information so you don't get stuck if something doesn't work. And at the same time, try to have access to all your relevant files. All of the other files, all the old files, all of your data files, graphics. So if there are any last minute changes that you need to make, you're able to access that information. All of those are important. So when it comes to presentations and competitions, the award criteria are always changing every year. So the things that we talked about in the last video that were true in 2022 may be slightly different in 2023. It's important at the beginning of any competition to look at the criteria for that particular competition to see how they've changed. Look at the expectations. Tools, the software tools and other things available change year by year. So this MOOC that we've done is only a starting point. It's not the final word. And we encourage you to continue to expand beyond this, to grow beyond this. Think about how you can improve your own performance.
Based on what you said, we need to have so many backups. It's very much like a Chinese old saying, a smart rabbit has 3 caves. And there's another saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So keep that in mind.